Cordelia's Honor by Lois McMaster Bujold is a science fiction novel, kind of like a space opera. I didn't know much about this book. I only discovered it from an article discussing recommendations for female science fiction writers. So this book was recommended, as well as The Stars Are Legion by Cameron Hurley and Autonomous by Annalee Newitz. So this one piqued my interest because, you know, sci-fi stuff, but also it's an omnibus book, which is comprised of two books. So like the first half is called Shards of Honor. The second half is called Barrayar. Barrayar won the Hugo Award that year. So that kind of, you know, intrigued me a little bit. But this is the first half is about the story of Cordelia Naismith. She's a captain, a surveyor, exploring an alien planet with her crew. She's climbing a mountain with one of her crewmates when they are attacked by the Barrayarans. They are a militaristic sort of people from another planet. They're not at war, but they're having an altercation now on this planet. Apparently, you know, they're crossing on territories. So Cordelia and her crewmate find themselves injured, have to survive, and the only person they can look forward to helping them is a Vorkosigan, who is also been betrayed by his people. They left him on the planet, but they didn't try to kill him, so he's trying to figure out what's going on. This story has the enemies to lovers trope, which a lot of people like, so I really dug that. But it's very steep in character development. You know, the first half is basically an action-adventure story on an alien planet. However, there's also lots of deep-seated character work, a little bit of culture clash, a lot of world building for the two different places, I guess. There's Beta Colony, which she's from, and Barrayar, which has their own traditions and things like that. So you're only getting little touches of world building as they move along in the story. Very satisfying ending. However, we sort of shift forward into Barrayar, which takes place after, and it's mainly a political thriller that takes place a lot on that planet. So we're getting a lot more world building because we're finding out how the way the world works and how different it is. It seems like a very backwards place to her because she's from Beta Colony, where the technology is very advanced, but the weather and the planet's very arid and you know, desolate. But Barrayar is lush with trees and oceans and things like that, very similar to Earth. However, the way they treat people is a little bit more barbaric. So she's having trouble with the sort of adjusting to the culture of this new planet. And of course, there's also like the political intrigue going on. So there isn't a lot of like aliens or like, you know, crazy stuff like that or sci-fi stuff, but there is a lot of political intrigue, culture clashes, technology stuff's in there too. It's more of a political thriller, you know, political intrigue, political coups, backstabbing, alliances, things like that. The pacing for Barrayar is a little bit slow. It was hard to get into because the first half of that story is basically just sort of her acclimating to this new planet and this new way of life, and then finally when the story kicks in, it gets a little bit more interesting. But overall, together, the story is fabulous. Really great character work. Really enjoyed the characters. It sets the pace for a grand, because this is the first of many omnibus stories, the Vorkosigan Saga. So I'm definitely looking forward to seeing the further adventures of Captain Cordelia Naismith and Vorkosigan. Really great stuff. Really got into it. It definitely is an underrated book because I don't see it being discussed on BookTube at all. So I give Cordelia's Honor a 4.5 out of 5.